there, this is Sunny, and I am a professional ballroom dancer. I'm here today to share with you, from the perspective of a long-term industry insider, what happened on this week's Dancing with the Stars. As I mentioned last week, as the series progresses, it's going to be easier for me to consolidate my reviews into fewer YouTube posts as we get fewer dancers, as I've shared a lot of background now on the strengths and weaknesses of these dancers. So let's get started. This will be part two of the review of this week's broadcast. Okay, if you missed the one I posted yesterday, I'll post a link below so you don't miss out. Okay, so we have 13 couples this week, and 7th on the floor was Ariana and Pasha. And as I've shared with you, I love this couple, both for dance and personal reasons. They were given a samba tonight and placed 5th. So that is identical to their placement last week, although they were 1 point lower last week from the judges' marks. In my opinion, they got the short end of the stick in being assigned a samba. It is a difficult dance. Some of the dancers this week were assigned salsa, which is exponentially easier and maybe easier to look flashy. So I felt this was a great showing, given that they were at such a disadvantage for being assigned a difficult dance. I love her musicality, her syncopations. I love that Pasha shows off her strengths in their showpieces. It's not all about him. It's really highlighting her. Love it all. Although I am disappointed they, in my opinion, were the least improved since last week. But we'll see. More to come next week. Okay, next, the 8th couple to the floor, we see Mauricio and Emma. They were one of these couples given a salsa. And they also placed the same as last week. Honestly, for the man's age, I am very impressed with his talent. He has an excellent upper body strength. I love how intelligent her choreography is. Choreography is in incorporating lifts and emphasizing his body strength. Overall, I'm not a fan of lifts, but hey, audiences do love it, and audience call-in is half the marks. I'm just not personally a fan because this is not allowed in real competition unless you're doing a specific show dance, which is a different category. I prefer to see real ballroom dance steps, but I love the showpiece. He has great control of his movement. Especially for his age, very flexible, balanced. I love his big smile. I do think this is very important in competition. Mira's weakness that I mentioned yesterday, she kind of lacks a little expression and has a bit of a zombie face when she's dancing, and I love to see joy and emotion. And so I can be emotionally sucked into the dance as well as visually. So huge strength for him. I'm going to post a link below to another video I've shared on YouTube with kind of what to do with your face when you're competing, okay? I also loved Mauricio's age-appropriate costuming, and I mentioned that in my review of Mira as well. I think the TV show Dancing Queens inaccurately shows just all extraordinarily revealing costumes with just wearing a bikini with rhinestones, shirtless, whatever. This is not real. I really like the age-appropriate, very flattering costuming. Okay, next to the floor in 9th, we have Allison and Sasha. They were assigned a tango. And as Roberto commented, that's actually not part of the Latin set in real competition. It's part of the ballroom set. But the show did acknowledge that fact, so I don't mind that it was in there. As a matter of fact, I personally specialize in the ballroom dances, so I love seeing a tango in there. I'm not as keen as seeing a pro who specializes in Latin execute that ballroom dance. It looked more like a paso. But in his defense, they were given a song that was not legitimate tango music. It sounded like a disco. So, you know, props to him for making a silk making a silk purse out of a sow's ear. That was a difficult one. I think for inexperience, she has a nice top line, but she's too high in the legs, which I would expect her to have a little more flexibility and sense of balance at her age. I was also disappointed that piece was only about 40 seconds of dancing. In real life, you would have, you know, minimum 60 up to 90 seconds to watch the couple. It is difficult to assess the dancing, seeing so little of it, okay? Okay, 10th on the floor, we have Charity and Arden. Loved them last week, love them this week. She was assigned a cha-cha. They were third this week. Last week they tied for first, so this was a little bit of a fall, but not the end of the world. I thought the dancing was good. And she had a huge hurdle this week because her regular pro partner, Artem, came down with COVID and he had to pull out. So she had to dance with a totally new partner other than who she's been practicing with for a month. It is unclear on the episode how many days she had to practice with Ezra, her new partner. But we know it wasn't the full week because we did see a shot of her practicing her cha-cha with Artem. So I felt horrible for both of them. I think they were amazing for the length of time they danced together. There's certainly a learning curve with each pro that you take with. I, as the pro, learn how to best communicate and teach the student, and they, as the student, learn how I teach and how to implement that fastest in their dancing. So very impressed. And for the record, this does happen in the real world of ballroom dance. Sometimes the pro will get sick or get injured at the last second. And often, certainly I have subbed in for other pros who at the last second had something come up, usually a sickness, and I've jumped in, and all they do, I get together with that pro, they show me the routines. This isn't my first rodeo. I remember what routines they've been given, and you know, we just make the best of it, and have a great time. And I'm really flattered that another pro would trust me. Not so much in dancing, we're all pretty competent, but I'm most flattered that they trust that I'm not going to try to pilfer their student from them. And I think part of that is I, as a professional, never say anything bad about another pro. I think that is a really poor tactic to promote yourself. Here's why. In real life, if you have a friend who talks smack about all their other friends, you can't help but wonder, well, gosh, what are they saying about me when I'm not there? I would never want people to not trust me fully. So anyway, this does happen, and shout out, props to her for making the best of it. They did great. Okay, 11th on the floor, we have Harry and Riley, who were given a salsa and placed 8th. They were 10th last week, so this is an improvement. Honestly, I'm surprised for his age that he has kind of a lack of natural abilities. He has a bit of kyphosis in his back, which you often see in elderly people. He's quite young to have this. He's hunched over pretty much all the time. He has a sloppy baseline, so uncoordination overall. He lacks musicality. Honestly, I may have even placed them last, but you know what? Judges liked it, and audience obviously liked it because he got called back. So kudos to him. And my favorite thing about Harry is he always have a sweet expression on his face. I love that. Okay, 12th on the floor, we have Jamie Lynn. She did a cha-cha. Okay, so by Jamie Lynn, they were voted off. I do feel bad for her, but if you refer to the video I posted last week with my predictions, I did say she would very likely be voted off. Not because of the dancing. I hadn't even seen her dancing yet, but because there's accusations, allegations. I don't think there's been any legal convictions, but that she took advantage of her sister Brittany during the financial conservatorship that her dad took over for Brittany. And Britney Spears, I think, is the reason Jamie Lynn's famous. Therefore, her fan base she might have is based on her sister, and her fans, I suspect, are going to have even more love for Brittany, and so I think they're going to penalize her by calling in not voting for her. So in a nutshell, that came to fruition. She was voted off tonight, although she did not place last in terms of the dancing. She got 16 points, which was up from 15 points last week. Although in my opinion, the judges were very generous with the marks. She was close, in my opinion, with Harry for last place and how she danced this week. Okay, our final couple to the floor, Jason Mraz and Daniela, who were given a rumba. Okay, I am all about Jason now. He was amazing last week. He was incredible this week. He was given, in my opinion, the hardest dance of all the couples this week because a rumba is a slow dance. So contrary to what non-dancers might suspect, slow dances are harder to make look good, to control the movement, to get aesthetically pleasing body lines. You have to know where you're going because you're not just going to fall with inertia to the correct next position. I was completely impressed with his control, with his extension, with his accelerations, his decelerations, great arms. And he's not even a dancer. In the first premiere episode, he says how he was so uncomfortable with dance. He never took the dance classes at his performing arts school growing up. So, wow. And they were also given a horrible hurdle this week in dancing last. So, as I shared last week, if you go last, the callers have the least time to call in and vote for you. So if you liked his dance, you had a matter of minutes to call in. If you liked one of the first performers, you had over an hour to call in. So they were amazing. They were first both this week and last. And in a nutshell, my prediction for the series, I think the two finalists we're going to see, if it's based on the dancing, is going to be Jason and Daniela and Charity and Artem. We'll see how that goes, but I'm putting that on YouTube for you, so we'll see if that magic happens. Okay, thanks for joining me today. I'll see you tomorrow. If you have a favorite, please tell me. I would love to hear. Okay, guys, thanks for joining me.